so what does workplace violence mean here? This is really interesting, I think. So it's defined as any act of violence or threat of violence that occurs in a place of employment. Okay, fine, makes sense. It includes the threat or use of physical force against an employee that results in or is highly likely to result in injury, psychological trauma, or stress, regardless of whether the employee sustains an injury. It also includes an incident or a threat or use of a firearm or other dangerous weapon. And by the way, a dangerous weapon does include using a common object as a weapon. So if someone picks up like a microwave, considered dangerous. Regardless, again, of whether the employee sustains an injury. So I think that's really notable. There's no requirement of actual injury. So I'm curious to see when I believe it will happen. Cal OSHA promulgates its model, how that's addressed. Oh, but by the way, lawful acts of self-defense or defense of others, that's not considered workplace violence. All right, what has to be included in an employer's workplace violence prevention plan? Yeah, this is not an exhaustive list. It's just some key information that I thought was particularly noteworthy. The names and the job titles of individuals responsible for implementing the plan, effective procedures to identify, evaluate, and correct workplace hazards, to respond to reports, effective procedures to respond to reports of workplace violence, effective procedures to respond to actual or prospective workplace violence emergencies. Like, how would the employer respond if an active shooter entered the workplace? What would employees be expected to do in that situation? The plan must also contain effective post-incident response and investigation procedures, and that includes recording very specific information regarding every workplace violence incident in what's known as a violent incident log, and those logs must be maintained for 5 years following the incident. Also, employers will be required to provide training to all their California employees, not employees in general, but all their California employees when the plan is first implemented and then annually thereafter.